Hello and welcome to the show. This is Lowcountry Money Talk. We're at the desk today with Phil Bloyd with Revolutionary Financial Group. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Jessa?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We have a lot to discuss. We have a lot going on, and we're going to update our viewers with some things that are happening in the financial world. You know, a lot of you at home may have heard of this book called The Marshmallow Test, and I'm going to refresh your memory or let you know what it is if you haven't heard of it or aren't familiar. So there's this study in the 70s, I guess, and they monitored 600 children. What they did is they put them in a room by themselves with a marshmallow, and the adult would leave and say, hey, you know, I'm going to be right back. If you don't eat this marshmallow, I will bring you another one.
Right.
So they get 2 marshmallows for not eating it. Well, out of the 600 children, less than 200 of them were able to delay their gratification and didn't eat the marshmallow.
Yeah.
So most of the children did. Now, what's interesting about this study is they followed these kids after the fact to sort of see how this played out in their lives.
Sure.
And the ones who were able to delay gratification, not eat the marshmallow, get the second marshmallow, turns out had significantly higher SAT scores, lower body mass indexes, and just higher overall education achievement in their lives. So this is really interesting about how this marshmallow test related to their entire lives. Now, what I'm interested in finding out, Phil, is what in the world does this have to do with our finances?
A lot. But first we'll say the other 2/3 became congressmen and women. Okay, that's why we're in the state of, of affairs that we're in today, right? So, you know, spending trillions of dollars and that we don't have and all that. So we need to get the other third, the ones that's hung on to the one marshmallow, we need to get them in Congress and politics, you know?
We'll make some adjustments. Let's find these kids. How old are they?
Dig them up. Maybe there's a list.
Yeah, that's right. Their 50s and 60s. That's about right.
Sure. But, you know, the key thing about this report is it tells us a lot about society.
Yes, it does.
You know, we live in a society that needs immediate gratification.
That is the truth.
And it's, you know, we may call it impulse spending, like our Congress. You know, it's like, oh, well, you know, we're $31.7 trillion in debt. Oh, that's okay, let's spend another $1 trillion instead of trying to find out where the waste and abuse and fraud and trimming back. So it's really affecting our lives and everything that we do. It's affecting our retirement. Now it's affecting the values of our retirement plans because of the inflation and all that stuff. So this report means a lot because it tells you about society in general. But I want to relate this, Jessa, more to like our 401k system, our IRA system. So when I first started in this business 31 years ago, many of my clients, they didn't even have 401ks or IRAs because they didn't have them back in those days, you know, so they didn't save into them. So they would save their money for retirement. They would work and say, I need to put back X amount of dollars and this and that. Well, came along the 401k, which was designed more for high ups in corporate, you know, big corporate jobs and all these things. But
it wasn't for everybody.
No, it wasn't. It was mainly so that these high up individuals or highly compensated individuals could save temporarily or defer taxes and kind of get around some loopholes and stuff like that. So now that seems to be our number one retirement vehicle is a 401k.
Yes. It sure
you know, the old pension costs too much money for companies. You know, they have pension funds that they had to oversee and monitor, and many of those aren't doing well. So there's a lot to it. But, you know, not to run short, I think in the next segment, I'll come back and we'll see how that plays into our 401k today and what we might could do about it.
Okay, I like it. Well, I'm always interested to hear your strategies. Okay. I love the parallels between retirement and marshmallows, so we'll find out more.
Sounds good.
About
tasty.
That. Yeah, after the break. Don't eat your marshmallow while we're gone. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back in. This is Lowcountry Money Talk. This is Phil Bloyd with the Revolutionary Financial Group. And we, for viewers just tuning in, have been talking about the Marshmallow Test. And we're still unpacking sort of how this relates to retirement, but
Sure.
I'm excited to learn more. So walk us through this, the idea of the instant gratification versus being able to wait for delayed gratification. How does that work with pre-tax savings and retirement?
Jessa, I think we get a little confused about tax savings and tax deferral, two different things.
True, yeah.
Okay, so as we put money into a 401k, we call it pre-tax. Another term would be tax deferral. Deferral doesn't mean that I don't have to pay taxes.
Right, it sort of feels that way because it's like, oh, we'll worry about that later.
We get lower taxes now.
You're right.
With your one marshmallow, but you don't get the second marshmallow later.
Right.
So we like the idea of 401ks because, you know, of course, if an employer is going to match, you want to get those matching funds.
Definitely.
And all that
Yep.
stuff.
Free money.
But today they have what they call Roth 401ks, most employers.
Okay.
So the Roth 401k would be like getting the two marshmallows.
Okay.
Because we do not take the pre-tax today. So let's say if I was making a contribution to my 401k and it was pre-tax, maybe it may defer a couple of $1,000s in taxes on this year's tax return for me.
Okay.
But that money will compound and grow and double and triple, and my partner in those gains and returns is going to be the IRS.
Right, yeah.
Because when I take $1 out of there, they're going to tax me on the whole dollar.
Right.
So they deferred a few $1,000s in potential taxes, and that $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000, whatever it may be, has accumulated to where now I have hundreds of thousands of dollars. And who determines how much of that dollar that I take out of that 401k goes to the IRS, and then how much goes to me?
The IRS, right?
And they're going to be totally fair.
Right. Of course, yes.
I was just telling you before we went on air, we were talking about, I had some developers, some real estate developers come into my office, and we were talking, and they were selling some properties, and they wanted to invest the monies, and we were talking about ways of investing the monies. And of course, these folks, they're like small business owners, and so they had used the employee different pre-tax items, for their savings. And I was telling them this very thing about how, hey, we're deferring those taxes, we're not saving them, and I was showing them some better options on how to do this tax-wise and things. And when I mentioned that, hey, we can count on the IRS to be fair with us, you could hear laughter like in the lobby. They were laughing so hard and uncontrollable.
Right.
Because these people deal with tax issues daily.
All the time, right.
But even
constantly.
they got, sucked into the idea, hey, I'm going to put these taxes off.
Right.
Let me just say this, like in 1913, when the 16th Amendment passed and we began taxing people's income, the first percentage rate that came out on taxes, it was passed with the idea of the government said, hey, I just need a little.
Just a sliver.
Just need a little bit. Yep. So 7% was the top rate. And it was only taxed to people that were on the top spectrum.
And that's it, yeah.
By the year 1916, the rate was all the way up to 80%.
Wow, just a short time out later.
3 years later. So, when the government, it's just going to be a little bit. We're just going to tax the people that make over $400,000 a year. And yeah, right. Okay, it's going to affect everyone.
And the debt isn't going down. So what the future holds, it could be.
Right.
It could be bad.
So, the next segment, we're going to dig down even deeper. This whole program is probably going to cover this thing.
Well, this is a great parallel you're drawing here between the two, and it does help us sort of wrap our brain around this because it is a little counterintuitive. You think, okay, we'll put the money in, we'll get taxed later, and then that way the whole amount of money has its opportunity to grow. But then you're paying taxes on a bigger pot and a bigger percentage.
And when we put it in, we don't know
We don't know.
How much is going to be lost
Yeah.
to tax? We didn't expect the government to be $32 trillion in debt.
Right.
And they're going to need that money.
They need to pay it back.
Yep.
Exactly. And they're going to use our tax dollars to do it. We're going to talk more about this topic after the break and hopefully what we can do about it to make smarter decisions. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back here on Lowcountry Money Talk. This is the back half of our show already.
Wow,
How did
goes
that happen?
fast.
It does. Phil Bloyd with Revolutionary Financial Group here, walking us through a few things, and I want to make sure we catch viewers up in case they are just tuning in. We were talking about the marshmallow study, and if you remember, this is about kids having to choose whether or not they're going to eat their marshmallow or not eat it, wait till the grown-up comes back and get a second one.
Sure.
And of course, most of the kids wound up eating the marshmallow.
Yeah.
So we're sort of making the parallel here between this study and taxes and savings and retirement and pre-tax dollars. And you're walking us through this in just a delightful way. I love the way your brain works,
Thanks.
Phil. So continue to unpack this for us and the importance of this theory.
So from a very young age, we'll say, we've been kind of programmed and we want this. I want it now. I want this, the computers and all that. I gotta have it now, you know, the instant gratification. And that's not always the best thing,
No.
you know.
Yeah.
It can be impulsive buying, things of this nature. But let's go back to how this is gonna affect retirees. So we've got this, what I consider time bomb that we've developed, which is a huge account that hasn't been taxed yet.
Right.
We've got the biggest government debt that we've ever had, approaching $32 trillion. We've got a Congress with reckless spending. We've got runaway inflation. So there's opportunity.
Indeed. Yeah. Yes.
There's opportunity.
You paint a nice picture.
But there's only opportunity if we take advantage of it.
Okay, yeah.
And most people are still into the delayed effect.
Right.
So they will let opportunities go by. I was taught early in my career, I've been at 31 years, so I was looking and saying, wow, I was like 27 years old when I started.
That's amazing.
Gosh, I'm old. But
Experience. Experience.
Anyway, so usually we take on a problem, and nobody likes problems, but in a way I do, because usually with every problem there's an opportunity.
Absolutely, I like it.
There's an opportunity to prove that you are a good advisor, a good business person, a trusted advisor. So people come to you with a problem, they trust you to help them solve it. So here's what we have as far as the 401ks go. Right now, most people that are in stock equity positions, the value of their accounts are down.
Yes.
Also, the last tax cut we received, it doesn't sunset until the end. So the last tax year of the current tax structure is 2025.
Okay.
So we're still in a relatively low income tax rate.
Yes.
They've tried to change it, and it's not working. So it's very hard to change the tax code because you have to get it through Congress and all that. They don't agree on the cover of the paint.
Right.
Okay, so we still have an opportunity, actually two. Low value in these deferred accounts, okay?
Yes.
The S&P 500 index was down 20% last year. So probably you have an opportunity with the lower value there and the lower tax code.
Right.
So
Okay.
why wouldn't we want to? Say we ate that first marshmallow.
Yes.
We get a second chance.
Okay.
If you take it.
Good.
If you take it.
Right. Okay. So we have an opportunity to right our wrongs.
So let's identify how much we can pay in taxes comfortably on these deferred accounts now and have a plan for tax year 23, 24, and 25 on how much we want to go ahead and pay taxes on now and move it over to a Roth IRA or something like that. If I'm still working, maybe I stop contributing to a traditional 401k,
Right.
and I contribute to a Roth 401k.
Yeah, which is so interesting to me. This whole thing is actually so interesting to me because it's almost like you think of it as like, okay, I've got this money in retirement or in savings, but really it's money that you have debt on. And you don't know what that debt amount is. You
What's the
haven't
interest
paid
rate?
It. Exactly.
It's a loan.
So you actually owe money on your money, and if you wait,
Yeah.
it could be a tough picture
Sure.
for you. So this is really, really helping me out. I hope it's helping our viewers as well. We've got one more segment for you after the break. We're going to wrap this up, put a bow on it, and
Right.
help you out. We'll
Absolutely.
be right back. All right, you made it to the final segment of Lowcountry Money Talk here today. We are talking about, we're talking about taxes.
And
really.
food.
And food.
Marshmallows.
Yeah. Taxes and marshmallows. They go together. Actually, we found out today that they really do go together because this marshmallow study has led us into the importance of delayed gratification. So we're unpacking that for you. Well, you're really unpacking that for us. Phil with Revolutionary Financial Group has been unpacking that for us. And we're going to finish it up today here by really talking about the difference between a traditional IRA 401k and a Roth 401k, how these work and where the taxes are coming from and when.
And it's not too late.
And it's not, that's a good message.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to talk is I'm going to go back to the 3 buckets. We had a show where we had the buckets and we went over that. So when you're taking distributions, depending on which bucket you take money from, it's taxed at a different amount. So one bucket may be a capital gains bucket. Maybe I'm paying up to 20%. I'm losing up to 20% of those dollars, so that's worth 80 cents. The regular income bucket, that's going to be your traditional IRA, your traditional 401k. Now, Congress may change all of these buckets.
Right.
They can. They're trying to raise capital gains taxes. They're trying to taxes on unrealized capital gains, which I've never heard of before. But also we have the tax-free bucket.
Right.
So we want to get from the regular income deferred bucket, which is in the middle, and we want to get as much money as we can to the tax-free bucket.
Okay.
Because once we pay the taxes on that middle bucket and move it over to the end bucket, then we don't have to worry about what's Congress is
going to
doing with
happen.
all the.
We're done.
We
paid
locked our
debt.
taxes in.
Right. Okay.
Right. And we'll put up a slide here in a minute and I'll show you the differences between today's tax rates and what they were before the current tax cut. Now remember, in the sunset, we go back to where we were.
Right.
And that starts in 2026 if Congress is do what they do well, which is nothing.
Right.
Then the tax, and then you're going to be taxed at much higher levels.
Okay.
And they may even change it from there. So if I'm a retiree, one of the biggest threats to your retirement is taxes owed on these pre-tax accounts.
Right.
Because we ate the marshmallow.
We did.
Okay.
We waited to
I'm
pay
going to show
later.
you how to lose the weight from that marshmallow, though. Okay, so here's what we do. We've got a couple of really good things going for us now. I would say good things, but the market's down. That's a bad thing.
Okay.
But we need to make lemonade from the lemon.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So we're down 10, 20% our investment accounts. So if we lock in the taxes now, when the market rebounds and we have those stocks transferred over or the equities transferred over into the tax-free bucket, we paid taxes on something that's down 10 to 20%. So when it goes up 20, 30, 40%, we don't have to pay any more taxes.
You always know what to do. Okay.
Because we already did that. Now the second thing is we know what tax structure we're under now.
Yes.
I just put it up on the screen here.
Right.
So if I move it over, I know exactly how much I'm going to lose to taxation today.
Right.
How much are we going to lose 10 years from now?
No idea.
No idea. So let's deal with what we have in front of us. So what we want to do, we'll get with our accountants, our CPAs, and whoever. We'll run some scenarios to see, hey, this is what we're going to need to set aside in taxes if we do this and that. And then we get the plan together, we take care of the marshmallow problem, and we move forward. The last thing we want to do for a government that has this unquenching desire to spend all of our money is let them to decide how much they want to take out of our life savings. So let's take control of those reins.
Right.
And let's do something about it today. And you know, the difference between the pre-tax and the post-tax is I'm contributing, is I don't defer the taxes. I go ahead and pay the taxes now if I'm still working. I get the contribution of my employer still. Now their part is going to be taxable, but your part is going to be the biggest part won't be.
Right.
And so we want to get these things that they're not going to be taxed at a future rate that is going to be sky high.
Right. That's just such a smart way of thinking about it and looking at it, and might as well take care of it while the market's down and your taxes are going to be lower. So
Yeah.
how does this translate to your taxes, your specific taxes? What you can do if you want to have Phil and his team take a look at your specific portfolio is you can have a free revolutionary IRA and distribution assessment. So your team actually is going to be able to tell our viewers how much they would save on taxes by switching over to Revolutionary Financial Group. And you got to have $500,000 or more in investable assets. And if you do, this is a fully free service for them to take a look and tell you what you would save. So call Rachel, and please watch our show again next time. It's been a fun time here on Lowcountry Money Talk. Thanks, Phil.
You're welcome.
And thank you.